Welcome to the Early Learning Lounge, your Monday morning reframe. I'm your host, Tammy Nucci. Wherever you're listening from, whether you're preparing for the week ahead or pausing in the middle of it, I am so glad you're here. This is a space where we slow things down long enough to reframe them. Our thoughts, our reactions, our behaviors, and the story shaping how we show up. Each episode is guided by the REFRAME Method. Recognize, reframe, reconnect, rewrite. Rooted in the real ABCs: agency, belonging, connection. And this week, I want to talk about something I noticed. I am part of several early learning communities online. And this week, the pattern was unmistakable. Post after post. Burnout, unpaid, undervalued, unseen. And I want to be clear, those feelings are real. The workload is heavy, the expectations are high, recognition does not always match responsibility. All of this is true. But what unsettled me wasn't the honesty, it was the velocity. How quickly one heavy post turned into 20. How discouragement multiplied. Algorithms reward outrage. Engagement feeds intensity. And before we realize it, we're participating in what I would call a kind of narrative contagion. A story repeated often enough that it begins to spread without intention. Contagion doesn't require malice, it requires repetition. And when a narrative of exhaustion becomes dominant, it starts to shape identity. I caught myself absorbing it, feeling heavier with every scroll, because negativity doesn't just spread, it amplifies. And when amplification becomes identity, we begin to believe that exhaustion is the definition of this profession. And that is dangerous. Not because the struggle isn't real, but because a single story repeated often enough becomes culture. And culture shapes how we show up. I have a million stories I could tell here. Names that still come to me without effort, children who challenged every strategy I had, families who questioned all my decisions. Moments like that felt like I was failing in real time. I remember sitting in my car after work, engine off, not ready to go inside, replaying conversations, rewriting responses, wondering if I'd handled it wrong, wondering if I was enough. The past 30 years have not been easy, but meaningful work was never meant to be easy. It was meant to shape you. I often say, if I knew then what I know now, I would have been a better educator. But that sentence isn't regret, it's evidence. Evidence that I stayed, that I reflected, that I learned, that I grew. Those moments that felt like defeat at the time, they built my capacity. They sharpened my awareness, and they made me more regulated, more intentional, more grounded. So when I see conversations that live only in exhaustion and defeat, I understand them. I've lived that story, but I refuse to let that be the only story. Struggle does not cancel significance. Growth often feels heavy while it's happening. That's when we reconnect. Reconnect to why this work matters. Reconnect to the impact we've seen. Reconnect to agency. I have a choice in how I participate in the narrative. Reconnect to belonging. I contribute to the emotional climate of my profession. Reconnect to connection. Regulation spreads even online. If narrative contagion is real, so is narrative leadership. If negativity spreads, so does steadiness, so does perception, so does courage. Burnout is real, but so is influence. Underpayment is real, but so is impact. Advocacy is necessary, and so is remembering our value. And then comes the rewriting, not denying struggle, not pretending everything is fine, but choosing to contribute differently. When a heavy thread appears, add perspective. When burnout is named, also name boundaries. When someone feels unseen, affirm their impact. When systems are criticized, acknowledge growth alongside gaps. Because the way we talk about our work shapes how we feel about our work, and how we feel shapes how we lead. Culture is built through repetition. What we repeat becomes identity. So, as you move into this week, I'll leave you with this. What story am I strengthening? Is my language building agency, or is it rehearsing defeat? Is it possible to advocate fiercely for change while still honoring the power of this work? This work is hard, that is true. And this work is transformational, that is also true. We can hold both. Recognize what's happening, reframe the narrative, reconnect to what matters, and rewrite how you participate. The hustle is real, the grind is constant, but the heart, your heart, is what makes it all matter. So refill your cup in whatever way keeps you grounded, connected, and human. And I'll meet you right here next week in the Early Learning Lounge.
1,